I ourselves. And it brings us to the point, which will carry us through into the next topic of the classified technology of your consciousness. Your consciousness is something that is eternal. It is divine. It is inspired through the grace of Source or God, or that which you wish to call it. And many times people have the fear of not being accepted or being looked at, as they say, with their head to the side or cockeyed, because of the fact of their belief systems or of their inspiration. Sometimes they're looked at as mad, they're looked at as crazy, they're looked at outside the social norm, whereas in fact this is a divine right that all of you have, that every individual on this planet has the ability to not only be the creator of their life or the co-creator of their own life, but they are also the co-creator of the planet as it is and will be. There are many timelines that are at play here right now, and as you are coming up into this so-called 2012 enigma, for lack of a better term, that many people have incarnated on this planet for this particular purpose. We see this happening with your indigo children and all of the other psychic children and psychic people that have been manifesting upon this planet since the mid-60s. And what has happened is that they have moved away from what they feel is right for them in order to conform. Now, we do not wish to say that it is necessary to break your laws. It is not necessary to destroy your society, but perhaps you can be the example of a better being, of a better way, of a better life. And the idea that your consciousness is only yours must come to an end. This is one of the many, many feelings and one of the many, many observances that we have said, that your society has tried and has succeeded with great results in making you feel separate from each other and making you feel that what you see is only what you see, whereas within the lives of those that are around people such as Bernard and or yourself, your consciousness are always seen to be in sync with one another. As with ourselves, we as the one, the emissaries of light, while we may be separate individual consciousness, we all share one consciousness. We all feel what the others feel. We all can communicate as one being, even though we are, in the material sense, separate from one another. And that is one of the impositions that your oligarchs and elites have imposed upon you to make you feel separate from one another. Notice that when you feel and when you see another, you had spoken of the tragedy in your country, Haiti, how you feel compassion, how Bernard feels compassion for the discussion you had for the people in Africa. That is normal. That is you sensing the one consciousness, which is the human race, that is the animal race, that is the earth race. It is the consciousness of earth. It is the one consciousness of this living life form that is your planet and that you are a part of. You were shown differently, and that is why we emphasize the fact that Bernard had to share what he had went through, so perhaps others may avoid the same obstacles that he had created for himself.
Right. Yes, it does make it all come together when you talk about, energy being as one whole consciousness. And one of the things that has worked very well for Bernard and myself, and having us be in sync, no matter if we have disagreements, we're still in sync. And it's that we have released our expectations of one another. It's not my job to have expectations of what his outcome will be, and then it's not his job to have expectations of what my outcome will be. It's our job to be in the present moment with one another every time and focus on that present moment to the point where we are actually in sync with one another. And when two people do that, when three people or then a group begins to do that they are really focusing on those present moments and reaching the potential of those moments, the future moments become so much more pleasant, and they become so much more productive, going in towards the sense of light and blessings and just things that make our lives in that moment so much better. But it does take work. It takes work to release all that you have learned. It's what in A Course in Miracles we call the atonement, which is the undoing of all that we have learned. And that is something that is very difficult. And hopefully, with guidance from you, the Emissaries of One, we will be led to help people come out of that undoing, the unlearning, and into a new way of seeing, which is the natural state of being. Do you have any suggestions for us there?
Yes, the first thing that we would like to share with you is the fact that it is important that the individual, that you, that Trevor, that Bernard, that any individual that is listening to this understands the importance and the awareness that you are not separate from one another. It is important that you release the idea of outcomes and expectations, and most of all, the importance of finding the quiet space. And Bernard and we have spoken of this on many occasions, that it is funny that your disagreements may be that of feeling that separation. Any disagreements between two people or any two countries or any two planetary systems or galactic systems are those because they feel separate from one another, because they feel they are not a part of the one story, whereas your word universe itself means one song, and you are one song within this universe. The idea that we must have for ourselves before we have for others is one of self annihilation as a human species. For you have what your brother has, and your brother or sister has what you have always. The idea of not enough, that you must come first, is one that is really the beginning step. The beginning step is releasing the needs or the greed and the realization that all is there for you when you ask for it. And it also comes to the ability to accept.
Okay, I'm sorry, I lost you there for a moment.
We feel that the inability for the humankind to accept, let us say, generosity, or for lack of a better term, charity, is something that creates a sense of separation. So if we are in a place that we can accept as we give and give as we accept, that is when you will find a change of consciousness within the person, and that person begins to be the example for others around them.
Correct. It's almost like as you're saying that when I give something to someone, and many people expect me to receive something in return from them in a tangible sense. But what they don't realize and have a hard time realizing for many, many times is that what I have received is their happiness at that moment and their excitement at that moment. And that to me is an amazing gift. I feel very, very comfortable giving things, not that comfortable receiving things, because I feel internally that there's an expectation of a return of something. But when I'm giving something, whether it's just a wonderful piece of advice, or if it's, a tangible gift like a T-shirt or something, that moment of that momentary happiness that you get from that person, that is such a wonderful gift. And so many people do not realize that. They don't even think about this whole term, it is in the giving that we receive. They don't understand that term. That wonderful energy that is expressed at that moment of receiving bounces right back to you, and you have then at that moment received their joy. And that is something that we can help people with, of course, because it's just a matter of showing them what perception can be and how to accept specific things and how to undo the perception that they have of the tangible, which is the material. And I think that Bernard and I spoke about this earlier on. And that is something I think that we need to help people with, letting them understand the differences between receiving of a tangible gift versus of that exchange of energy, of joy within that moment of giving something.
And absolutely, that is a part of it. We would like to perhaps step back a few moments or step back a bit more to the understanding of who and what you are. And we would like to share with all of you that let us be clear that we, even as the Emissaries of Light, understand that we are merely a expression of sorts. We are merely an illusory creation of our own consciousness. For in what has been going on your planet and on many planets and very other forms of civilizations is that the idea of that which you are is all there is, that you are only a body, that you are only one consciousness, that you are only one planet, that you are a solid material being, whereas the opposite is true. For your science and our science has already proven that there is no matter. We must understand and take it to the level of understanding and help the population understand there is no matter. It is only the observance of the matter that makes it material. Your elites or your oligarchs or your, as you call the system, already understand this. And you have had a movie recently in your timeline of The Secret that did explain that this has been known for a while, but it's been kept from you, that you are not a physical being. You are not even anything more than a hologram created by your own consciousness. And it is the fear of acknowledging that you are not you that people resist the flow of abundance and the flow of prosperity that is given to them naturally. And what we mean by naturally, we mean that in the sense of your currency will not give you the things that you want. Your currency is not going to give you the things that you need. You are merely an observation of consciousness looking upon itself. As a consciousness looking upon itself, you're thinking that you are real, you're thinking that you are solid, and you're thinking that you must go and attain more because that is what you have been trained to do, almost as a seal or something at a circus. And you are reacting to this because you believe that the economy is going bad, or that you need a bigger house, or that you need this or that. People must understand it is not the currency that is the prosperity. It is the love, it is the shelter, it is the food, it is the friendships, it is the affection, it is all of these things that you have in your life that aren't necessarily attained through the collection or the hoarding of things. We find that, and Bernard is a very good example. Bernard is considered, let us say, in the spiritual realm, to have it all. He has the love of great friends. He has the great love of his life. He is doing what he loves to do. He has never gone without, but yet he is penniless. How can someone who is penniless in your paradigm have it all? Because he has accepted the fact that it's not the currency that gives you all. It is the acceptance of the abundance that is around you that gives you everything that you already have. You have the love. You have the home. You have the community. We feel that a part of the paradigm shift that is going to happen is the release of such ideas that it is more money that will get you more things and that will fulfill you. As long as you have the basic essentials of water, food, and love, you have everything that you need. On top of that, everything else is just an added bonus. And you will receive those things because you asked for them. People must understand all you have to do is align yourself and ask for that which you want, and it will be given to you. But not necessarily in the fact of through a raise or through a higher paycheck or through more money in the bank, because if you look at that, look at the world in those senses, you will never have enough.
Right, because you're always speaking of lack instead of abundance.
Correct. Correct. We